Folks, we are back, week 3. We are gonna keep the same macros. We've been at 2,300 calories for the last 2 weeks now, entering the third week. We've been at 160 grams of protein for the last 3 weeks. We're also staying on that. And we've been at 250 grams of carbs, which we are also gonna keep. And we have been at 65 grams of fats for the last 2 weeks now, coming on to the third week. And it's been okay. It might be a little too much for the calorie intake for the bulk and for what we're doing. But needless to say, I've been gaining weight steadily, progressively. I checked in on September 23rd? It was about a week ago. I was 158 pounds. I checked in yesterday. Obviously, you guys know the routine. You got to check in top of the morning, after you use the restroom, before you eat anything, preferably before you even drink anything. Just wake up, use the restroom, flush it all out. That will probably be your most accurate weight, because that'll be the weight that you can replicate, or that'll be the same conditions that you can replicate day in and day out. Just in the morning, after you use the restroom, don't eat anything, don't drink anything, and then go ahead. So I weighed in yesterday at 161 pounds. So if anything, the calorie intake that I have now might be a little too high, but that's okay because we are on a bulk. So I think if I start getting fucking man tits, or like the pudge starts to get more pudgy, if I start pudging more, then that'll be time to kind of maybe just knock it down like 100 calories. But as of right now, I've been feeling good. I've been feeling a little more tired at the gym, but I think that's just because of the carb intake. It's significantly higher than what it was before. I think before I was at like 150. So now I'm literally 100 grams of carbs more than I was, a month ago. So with that, we've been pretty good. Just a little tired at the gym, but the pumps have been pretty great. I've been loving it. I've definitely been feeling stronger. I'm now at the weight that I was at during the cut, like the heaviest I was able to go on the cut. Now that's like my starting point almost. So, and I'm not hurting myself, which is probably the best thing, right? You don't want to hurt yourself when you're working out, because then the recovery is really what kills your gains. Not so much being hurt, like, oh, my shoulder hurts, but the fact that you can't train your shoulder, or you can't train, I don't know, your back or your quads or whatever it may be. So just make sure when you're training, make sure you train smart, train smarter, not harder, but I think really that's it. This morning I'm having some oats. So this is 125 grams of rolled oats with 1 packet of the Quaker oats, like the flavored ones. It's the maple and brown sugar. So 1 pack of those, and then 2 scoops of Gold Standard whey protein, vanilla. I think it's like vanilla ice cream or something like that. But so that's what this is. So this is gonna be my breakfast for today. I've either been having this or just ground beef and rice, as you guys have seen in my other little videos, like my shorter videos. But this particular meal, this is what I've been having. Like if I'm gonna have oatmeal in the morning, this is what I'm gonna have. And notice I'm also eating breakfast now. I wasn't eating breakfast before. Not that that's a good thing, but it's just the time of the day that, like the time in the day that I have to eat now, it really matters. Whereas before I had to eat later so I could not, be hungry going to bed. Now I have to eat much more. I have to eat 1,000 calories more. Yeah, I have to eat 1,000 calories more now. So, that is playing into the factor of eating more food overall in general. So you got to eat in the morning, you got to eat in the evening, or in the, like at noon, afternoon, and then in the evening also. And it's been kicking my ass. But I digress. This meal is 67 grams of protein, 108 grams of carbs, and 14.9, almost 15 grams of fat, which is pretty sweet. The 125 grams of oats actually has 15 grams of protein, 71, technically 72, it's 71.9, but it's got 71.9 grams of carbs, which is also incredible, and we've got 9.4 grams of fat. So that's my breakfast. That's what I start off with. And remember, you guys want to start your morning, like top of the day, the first meal that you have, you want to eat more protein than carbs, just so your body can start activating, your digestive system can start activating. Because if you have more carbs, it will probably make you feel a little more sluggish later in the day. At least that's what I've noticed when I have like a carb heavy meal in the morning. So that's why I put the 2 scoops of protein, just to kind of balance out the protein in that meal. So like for here, you could see the little bars. So the green one is the protein, the blue one is the carbs, and the fats is the red one. So you can see that they're pretty lined up. And that's for the day, right? So that's dividing it into how much I have to take in for the day. So that's about a third. So that's a third. So 1 out of 3 meals right there. And then the fats, I'll make the fats up, obviously. And even if I don't, I would rather keep those fats as low as possible. Nothing lower than 55 grams, I would say, because 55 and under, your body's just gonna start acting funny. So in order to avoid that, we wanna keep it above 55. And 65 is on the high end. I should be like at 60. So I think by the end of the day, with the ground beef that I have, it'll kind of even out. I can throw in some cheese to kind of level it out and get a little more fat in there. But like I said, I don't want to be overdoing the fat, because that's where people like mess up, and that's where people start to gain weight, right, during the bulk. They're not lean bulking, they just start gaining massive amounts of fat, and that's where I don't want to be, because then I have to shave that off, you know, like in March or whenever I start cutting again. So that's why I'm avoiding eating such high fat food. But you know, if you go over once in a while, it's a bulk, it's fine. Just know that you will have to make up for it later when you're cutting. But overall, that's my meal. 168 calories for this guy, this little bowl right here. And I think that's really it. That's the update for what do we covered macros, we covered weight, and we covered, I mean, working out. It's been okay. I think I'm still progressing in the gym, right? I don't think this is definitely not as strong as I'm gonna be, because this is the beginning of the bulk. So this is gonna be like a 6-month long bulk. So I'm super freaking excited to just be stuffing my face with food. But at the same time, I'm already feeling the effects of eating too much food and not having enough time in the day, because it's like I'll eat this, and this meal will probably hold me over until like 4 p.m. Which I know I shouldn't I shouldn't eat that late, but just after the cut, it's like I kind of try to ignore the hunger, and it just kind of rides all the way out until 3 or 4. So I've been trying to avoid doing that, and I've been trying to eat more even though I'm not hungry, because that's the point of bulking. It's like eating even when you're not hungry. That way you can recover your muscles, build more muscle, you know, gain the appropriate kind of weight, or not fat. I mean, I guess fat, because you're gonna get soft, you're gonna get fat. You just don't want to get too fat. You don't want to get too soft. So yeah, so that's what I've been trying to do. So this is my update for the week. I will see you guys next week when I have maybe a different weight. I don't know. We'll see what updates I have, but for the most part, it's gonna be this in the morning, because I don't really eat this at night. So I've usually been doing this in the mornings, and then at night, I'll show you what I usually do at night is, so this was my dinner, and so you could see, so this was 100 grams of jasmine rice, 2 carb balanced tortillas, and 100 grams of lean ground beef. This ground beef is a little different than the one that I have been eating because it's the one from Kirkland. So I just got like the big 5-pound bag that they have. And I wanted to try it. I wanted to see if it tasted good. I wanted to see if it was gonna massively change my macros, because the one that I was having was 93.7. So that 2% in fat change is making a difference in how much cheese I can eat. So I don't need to be eating as much cheese with the 91%, because it's less lean than the 93%. So therefore it's got a little bit more fat, and that really evens out the playing field. You can kind of see it here. So this is 100 grams of Kirkland beef. You can see the Kirkland up here. And then it's for 170 calories, right? But down here, that's the protein and that's the fat. You see that? They're pretty, like, they're hand in hand. So I think that's pretty interesting, at least for what I have to be taking in during the day. So that's the ground beef that I've been eating, and then obviously just rice, the rice cooker, 100 grams of rice, 100 grams of rice, 100 grams of protein. And then obviously this is gonna vary throughout the day, but I do want my dinner to be lighter than my breakfast or my lunch, just because it's time to shut down. I don't want my body to be overheating. I don't want it to be working as much or more than it should. It shouldn't be working at all when you sleep, but I don't want it to be overworking, you know, throughout the night, because then that directly correlates with your sleep. So if your stomach is like heavy digesting, then your sleep is going to be pretty trash. And then that's going to come into your recovery, and then your recovery affects your muscles and everything. So I try to have my dinner to be the lightest meal possible, because even if you look at my breakfast here, I had 250 grams of the ground beef, 100 grams of rice, and then 1 slice of cheese even. Or no, 1 slice of bread, not cheese. And then for lunch, see, so I kind of scaled it down a little bit. 100 grams of, jasmine rice, 200 grams of ground beef, and 2 carb balanced tortillas. So I try and keep them even, they just get a little lighter throughout the day. That way, by the time I hit dinner, it's as light as possible and I'm not super digesting. So that's my tidbit on eating before sleep. If you have to do it, you have to do it, but just try to make sure that it's your lightest meal throughout the day. So with that being said, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching, and make sure you stay consistent.